Rannoch to Tullach. Although you'll see few obvious signs of human activity in this landscape, it's not unused. Sporting estates manage the heather moors and hills for income from deer stalking, fishing and grouse shooting. One of the estates here has adopted a conservation approach to land management. They're encouraging the natural growth of native trees, as well as replacing non-native conifer plantations. To do this, they're controlling red deer numbers to reduce the grazing pressures. Already, woodlands are naturally regenerating and habitats are recovering, resulting in a richer environment for all to enjoy. There are positive outcomes for the red deer as well. They are healthier and the stags are larger with fabulous antlers. Mark Stephen visited Craigmeggy, a nearby estate, where conservation is the focus of their management ethos too. Rory Richardson is the manager there.
How do you actually establish a balance between deer and trees? Because obviously the young trees can't grow because the deer eat them.
Yeah, well, basically you've got to take the density down to a level that you can get regeneration. And that density we think is 3 to 5.
3 to 5 deer per what?
Per square kilometre. If you've got high densities, you'll never get regeneration. It just won't happen. About 25 years ago, we started to get regeneration without fencing. And as you can see around us, it really has been a success. Originally, they had to reduce the deer numbers drastically. And although it was done a bit quickly at the beginning, now we just do it the same way as any other estate conventionally. But we certainly have got great regeneration, probably some of the best actually in Scotland, which has actually been copied by other private estates.
Deer essentially are woodland creatures. Do they thrive in the kind of conifer plantations that you actually see? I mean, big belts of fir trees.
No, I mean, the things like Sitka spruce and Norway spruce, which were planted a lot in the 60s and 70s, are not very good for the red deer. You really need hardwoods, Scots pine, you know, the native trees that you would expect to find in the Highlands are what benefits the red deer. But they wouldn't have been planted every 3 metres or every metre even. They would have been much widespread. And here it's kind of hardwoods here, and it's very naturally. So it isn't a blanket regeneration. You've got little copses, as they might say, you know, and little groups of it, and it'll spread out from there. And the deer will go in and thin them out. We actually need the deer. The advantages of that Scots pine are that underneath it, the vegetation is what the deer would expect to find. There'll be lots of heather, there'll be lots of plants that they find very palatable. It's really good shelter. They can get out of the wind. You'll see a lot of vaccinium, a lot of brayberry, a lot of crowberry. It's really the excellent habitat for red deer. You'll end up with a much bigger animal, a much stronger animal. There'll be less mortalities, and really it'll go right down to the hinds and the calves. And the future of the breeding, it's a much better species if they can get shelter when the weathers are really extreme.
So what's the balance at the moment?
And we have now got the right level of regeneration, the habitats are recovering, and we're very happy with that. What's even better is that our neighbours are happy with the levels of deer that we are shooting, and so it really is benefiting the woodland.
That's quite important because obviously deer can't read maps. Therefore, if you create arguably a vacuum here by culling too many deer, it attracts some of their deer. If they're trying to make a living as a sporting estate by shooting deer, they're not going to be happy by that.
No, absolutely, and it's important to take the whole economy into consideration. There's a lot of people employed in the private industry on these private estates, which are really put a lot into the community. Very important that we get the numbers right, you know.